Welcome to Mommy Mia Media, a podcast by moms for moms.
Hey guys, welcome back to Mommy Mia Media. We did not put out an episode last week in observation of Labor Day. We hope you had a safe, fun holiday weekend. This is the first time Lindsay and I have seen each other face to face in 2 weeks, so lots to talk about, I'm sure, and catch up on for you guys. Excuse appearances. I have some coffee spilled on me and my hair's a mess. It's Sunday morning, bright and early. I have my coffee. Lindsay has hers. So
I've got a handful of the goldfish crackers all down my shirt because that was my breakfast this morning in the car on the way here.
I mean, no judgment. I mean, it sounds like the breakfast of champions right there.
Yeah, I just grabbed a handful and walked out the door. As long as I had my coffee, that's all I cared about.
I know. I run on caffeine. I think all moms do. But how was your week? I mean, it's been forever. So
it has been. Well, part of the reason why we haven't seen each other is because, all those back to school germs, they finally hit, and both boys ended up with strep, and then Ian brought home a cold. So I've tried to keep my distance from you and Miss Amelia here, so that way I didn't share the germs. Normally sharing is caring, but not in that case.
No, I get it. I was about to say, so one of the things that happened is she started daycare. Yeah. And, with daycare, so comes the germs along with it. And we knew it was going to happen, but sure enough, she got like a little bit of a stuffy nose and a cough. And it got to the point that I wasn't quite sure because, with infants, you have the added fear of RSV.
And you always worry no matter what, too.
Well, and, there's a difference between, like, my 12-year-old and my newborn. Like, my newborn can't tell me, Mom, I'm not feeling good. Yeah. This is why I'm not feeling good. Whereas Natalie's like, I don't feel good. I feel like I'm going to throw up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So with her, it's like, is she okay? Is she breathing weird? So I finally called the pediatrician. He basically was like, as long as she's eating and drinking and having wet diapers and acting normal and not running a fever, you're good. Yeah. So she still has a little bit of the stuffy nose, but I think that's just because the weather's slightly kind of cooling down a little bit here in Ohio.
Yeah.
Just the season. So
yes, which I'm very happy about the weather cooling down, by the way.
I'm not opposed to it. I like summer a lot more, but I am ready for the cooler weather. It's been so hot the last couple weeks.
Oh, it has been hot. Well,
you guys do anything fun for the holiday, or were the boys actually sick on the holiday?
We were all pretty sick on the holiday. And even though the boys, because luckily for the boys, Gabe is prone to strep throat. So as soon as he said, Mom, my throat hurts, I'm like, let's go. We're going to urgent care. We're getting you swabbed. So I got both boys swabbed pretty early into the illness, so luckily they didn't have any of like the bad symptoms.
Right.
Just a little bit of a scratchy throat, but when I was little, I had strep throat all the time, and it came with like the worst symptoms, and wanting to throw up and all that fun stuff. And luckily they didn't have any of that, so
that's
caught
good.
It early, got them on antibiotics. I've been taking my garlic and honey because I love my natural remedies.
Yeah.
So I've been trying to ward off any sort of strep or anything like that. So far it's worked, but I did have a little bit of the cold Ian brought me, and that was just because he was laying in bed with me snoring and then hacked all over my face in the middle of his snore. So I knew I was about to get sick. It's like, oh, great.
I thought I was getting sick there for a minute because my throat, like, I woke up and I had like the soreness in the back, and I was like, oh no, because I knew strep was going around. Yep. And I actually was like, oh, maybe I should go to the doctor, but like it wasn't like, it didn't hurt to swallow. It was just kind of like raw, and I think it was because like I had some like a little bit of a stuffy nose, because again, when the weather changes, I start getting that like phlegm in the back of your throat that it's draining, but you're not having like the symptoms of a stuffy nose or anything.
Exactly.
And I was like, I'm pretty sure it's just that, and that's why I haven't been feeling so great. Yeah. So, but luckily I feel fine now. It was just like a 1 or 2 day thing, and I felt fine after the fact. But knowing that she wasn't feeling good, I didn't want to risk like being around anybody. Exactly. So I worked from home for a few days, just because we have a lot of like newborns in our, or like new parents in our office, I should say. And I don't want to, like, bring that around them and have them take that home, so.
Well, we got lucky because the kids actually had a fair break this week.
Oh, nice.
So it gave them the time to kind of recover and recuperate without having to miss school. So that was nice. And then after we knew everybody was, illness free in the house, we celebrated by, we went to Cincinnati yesterday. And we did the indoor skydiving experience.
Oh, yeah. You've done that before, though.
Yes.
So how was that?
Oh, it was great. We got to take one of Gabe's friends with us.
No, was this for a birthday? Like a belated birthday?
It was technically Gabe's birthday present.
Okay.
From back in June.
Gotcha.
Just because we were on vacation for his birthday. And he still hadn't had an opportunity to kind of do something fun with friends.
Gotcha.
And so we were like, well, we have tickets to go. So we're just going to follow up and try to find a weekend to go. And it was a great time. And they had fun. And we forgot because we had gotten a discount the previous time we went. So we had already purchased tickets. Well, we didn't realize how many tickets we purchased. So we ended up purchasing like 10 flights. So we all got to fly this time, and I always love anything that gets your blood pumping, so.
You're an adrenaline junkie. You'll never admit to it, but you are.
I might be a little. But it was a good time, and we got to do like the high flights, which you go up high into the wind tunnel, and it's just a good time. And Gabe's friend had never gone, and
I'm good on that. Heights and free falling are my two, like, and I'm like, I don't know if I'd do that for fun.
Yeah. Well, both my kids are like waiting because they're like, Mom, you're going to take us when we turn 21 to go skydiving, right? Ian's like, nope, you guys have fun. I'll be watching from the ground. It's like, I don't have any need to jump out of a perfectly good airplane.
My cousin can take him. I think she's able to actually jump by herself now.
Yeah.
She has done it so many times. And I remember, like, years ago, one of my friends, like, we got an opportunity to go for free, and I was just like, not even for free, thank you.
Oh, 100%.
I am not one to jump out of a perfectly good plane. I'm not even one to really like to get on a normal plane, okay?
See, I don't like to get on them either, but I want to fly them, and I want to jump out of them.
No, I'm good on that. Like, if I jump out of a plane, it's only because, like, I want my heart to stop. Like, just saying.
It's the way to go.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Speaking of, so like, this one giving me a little bit of a heart attack with her, like, not feeling good. Like, I thought it was funny because, like, here lately, she's been chewing everything.
Yeah.
So the other day, like, Natalie was like, we should give her a teething chew. And I was like, no, we shouldn't. The little cracker biscuits.
Oh.
And I, the entire time, was like freaking out because I know
YouTubing infant CPR just in case.
Well, I mean, Heimlich, whatever. But my thing is like, they're teething biscuits. And I get that they, like, dissolve with slobber and stuff. Or get soft. But I'm like, one, how soft do they get? Like, is it something that, like,
fully dissolving?
Well, she would take off, like, these, like, decent-sized chunks and be, like, slobbering all over. And my fear was that she would get something lodged in there. But she did good with them. Like, I mean, it was kind of gross, though. Because, like, I haven't had to feed, like, a baby in some time. And, like, they get, like, all, like, mushy. And, like,
I remember.
She wouldn't, like, eat all of it. So there's all these, like, little bits of, like, slobbery cracker that was all, like, moist. It was gross. Like,
and she got to try something else this week.
Yes, she tried peas for the first time, some baby food.
Oh.
She, they say that you can start them as early as 4 months, and she's almost 5 months, but, like, they say that, like, when your kid's ready to start, they'll start taking an interest in food, and, like, I'm dead serious. I'll sit there and I'll eat, and she'll just watch you, like, from picking up the food to putting in your mouth. Like, she just watches where it's going. So the other day I was like, you know what? I'll pick her up some, first step baby foods. Like, they have different sizes that they progress along with. So I tried peas first, and she wasn't sure at first, but she, like, ate them. She was doing pretty good. Her sister actually fed her, which I believe I posted a little video of that online. It was super cute.
I saw that.
And she does really good with, like, opening up. But now, the other day, when I went out to dinner with Casey, we were sitting there, And, like, I had her on my lap while I was eating, and every bite I'd take, she would open her mouth like she was getting some. So I was like, oh, man, she can't wait to eat that real food. Like,
she's excited.
She's my chunk. So.
Her and I have been talking about all the good food she's going to try as soon as she's able.
Oh, I'm sure. She, like, my mom wanted to give her some whipped cream the other day, and I was like, no, I think that's a bit much. Like, plus, I don't want her to, like, try too many sweet things and not like the vegetables and stuff. Like, that's why I started with peas, because I'm like, I don't like peas. So, like, if I start with the grossest thing, like, it just continuously gets better. So, the next thing that we're going to be trying is carrots. And once we start getting, through some of the veggies, I'll transition to the fruits. Because I'm like, oh, she'll love bananas. Mommy loves bananas.
I think she'll like the sweet potatoes, though.
That's why that's the last vegetable. Like, I think that we'll do carrots, and then I think that the other thing that I got, I couldn't find green beans, which I thought was weird. Like, I thought that they used to have green beans.
Yeah.
Maybe I didn't look hard enough, but some of the step 2 ones, those are the ones that have, like, mixes. You know what I mean? It'll be, like, spinach and...
the blends.
Yes. And I'm like, I don't want to expose her to that just yet, because I want to see, like, how does she react to individual things.
Exactly.
So... that's been one thing. And then talking about getting bigger, Natalie is also like, I mean, every time I look at her, I'm just like so impressed with how big she's getting. But I mean, her birthday is here in 2 weeks. I scheduled her birthday party. It's actually this upcoming weekend for her friends, and we're going to dinner. But I've been having an issue with her, and I don't know, like, if anybody has like some remedies to this. I don't know how to approach it, but she is like 12 going on 16. And she has been taking my stuff, like, all the time. I mean, makeup, hair stuff, you name it. So, like, the other day I was getting ready for work. And I'm dead serious. I have, like, a hair straightener. I have a curling iron. I have one of those, like, heat brush things, you know what I mean? That it straightens as you brush.
Oh, yeah.
And I couldn't find a single hair tool that I own. And I don't do my hair very often, so it's not like it should be missing.
Right.
Tell me why this child had, like, literally, like, 18 hair tools in her room.
Whoops.
Including one that I haven't even used. And I'm just trying to figure this out. Because, like, I don't want to get mad at her. And I want to have, like, a community thing where it's like, look, you can use it, but bring it back.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to go hunting through your room.
Yes, when I need something.
Exactly. And it's like, I don't mind that you use my stuff, but, like, makeup, for instance. She, like, we had gotten into it even when we went to Alabama a couple weeks ago, because she had some of my makeup, and it wasn't a big deal. But she told me that she didn't bring it. I brought it. And I knew I didn't because I couldn't find it. And I'm like, Natalie, I know that I didn't bring this. It's not even in my stuff. Yeah. It's with yours. Like, but...
trying to get one over on you.
Yeah, and I'm just like, I'm not dumb. If you need makeup, like, I have so much makeup, like, because, again, I don't do my hair or makeup very frequently. But, like, just ask. Or if you need it, like... I'll go buy it, but she has this idea that I'm going to go to Ulta and buy her a $50 foundation. I'm like, girl, I wear a $10 foundation. I'm not buying you a $50 foundation. Like, if I don't use it, you ain't either.
Yes, exactly.
You can use that when you have your own money. Like,
right. Well, that's why I had given her that Ulta card, because I was like, I'm not going to use it. I'll wear mascara and I'll put stuff on my eyes and then sometimes like a powder, but... especially if I'm just coming here, like, this is last night's makeup.
This is no makeup. I need a shower.
This was me taking a wipe to my face last night at midnight and then going to sleep and then waking up and coming here.
I mean, I get it. Like, I don't know. It's just been like a doozy of a week. And then to top it off, I'm just like kind of feeling the pressure right now with like Nat's birthday coming up and getting prepared for that. And it's so much to plan a birthday party. And this year I was just like, I'm doing something simple. I literally got like a package that they include food, everything, decorations. Yeah, that's and smart. All I have to do is bring the cake. And I'm like, that's the way to do it. I know that she's also getting older. So everything that she wanted to do there for a while, she wanted to travel out of state. And I'm like, I don't know who you think we are. We're not the Kardashians. We don't have that kind of money. Like... I would love to take you out of
limo
state.
Service happening here.
I'm like, you know what I got for my 12th birthday? I got a bowling alley, like, party. Like, we went bowling. I got a bowling pin. It was the greatest time. But kids these days, like...
I was spoiled. I'll be the first to admit when it came to my birthdays because we did it at the ice skating rink. I always did all my birthdays at the ice skating rink.
That's pretty
And so
cool.
my mom would load up all my friends into her minivan and we would drive up to the skating rink. And I loved ice skating.
See, I like ice skating, but now that I'm a parent, like all I intrusive thought.
Yes.
But I literally like fear that like I'd have to have parents sign a waiver. Like if your kid's hand gets like accidentally like disfigured because they like land on the ground, somebody
not my fault.
It's not my fault. I don't know whose fault that would be. Like I don't know.
I think you sign a waiver for the ice skating rink too, so.
I don't know. It's just like terrifying. I was like, is it bad that that's like the things that come to my mind is how can these kids get hurt? Like I didn't think that you could get hurt on a trampoline until we went to Tennessee over the summer and Natalie like scorpioned herself and I was like, I didn't even know that was a thing. Like, but then again, like.
You talk about your intrusive thoughts. I literally told Ian the other day, I was like, we're just going to put a sign at the like end of our driveway. Like, now that you've passed this point, you understand that you release us of all liability. Because I always think about like, what if one of their friends comes out here and they get hurt somehow? Like, what if they're out in the woods and a snake bites them or a tree falls?
And you actually had, why don't you tell the story about what you found this past week on your porch?
Well, it was right next to the step of the deck, but I was standing outside and I think I was getting ready to call you. And then I had like ADD and I was like, what's that? And I look off to the side and I realize it's the shed of a snake skin. And I'm like, oh, that's cool. So instantly I go in and I'm like, I yell for Lawson because he's super intrigued and like all things like bugs and snakes and everything. And so I call him outside and I'm like, come here, look at this. And I'm like unwinding it from the tree limbs and I pull it up and I'm not kidding you. This snake skin was over 5 feet. I pulled it up and my kid looks at me and normally he's very good about not cussing. But the very first thing, I'm not even gonna lie, the very first thing he said was, oh shit. I was like, Lawson. He's like, I'm sorry, Mom, but is that thing? He goes, all that makes me think of is that it's bigger now. And I'm like, yeah, it is bigger now.
That's why it shed its skin.
Yes. But it's just a rat snake. But we laid it out. He immediately ran inside and grabbed the tape measure. And I had those intrusive thoughts, though, of like, okay, I know that this is just like a rat snake skin. But what in, like, the off chance that it's, like, not, and it's a cottonmouth, or, you know, we have water moccasins around, so you have to be careful. And I immediately was taking pictures of it, and I sent it to this awesome guy online who's, like, an exterminator and, like, expert, and he got back to me immediately. Was like, you're correct, it's just a rat snake. I'm like, okay. I, like, posted it online, too, like, anybody know? I just want to be sure.
I know, I got that text. You're like, so I might burn down my house? I was like, if it was inside, absolutely.
Yes.
Like, but you live in the country. It's to be expected.
It is. And actually, it's really good for the property to have, like, those around. So I'll take it as long as it stays outside. What was scaring me was then Lawson, of course, going, oh, just wait, Mom. Just wait till it gets cold outside. It's going to try to come in here where it's warm. And I'm like, stop. Don't say that. I'm like, it can stay outside.
I'm just saying, if I visit and there's a snake in your house, it will be burned down.
Listen, I'm honestly okay with snakes. It's the spiders. They've always been more of a fear for me than snakes.
Both are a fear for me, so... And I do not like spiders. We've seen quite a few of them, especially when we got our deck redone. There was a ton of them, probably under the deck, that probably, like, lived under there. And we get the house sprayed pretty frequent.
Yeah.
Just because, like, I don't like creepy crawlies in the house. And Casey likes to stay up on that, so that way he has a happy life and semi-happy life.
He doesn't have to hear those blood-curdling screams.
For it being a short week this past week, it seemed so long. And I don't know if it was just because of the holiday and I had work and her being sick and like Casey was off work and it was just like a lot. Like, I don't know, like Casey did a lot around the house, but like I just felt exhausted. I've been going to bed at like 9, 10 o'clock, which I mean,
I'm a little jealous.
I normally like, look, I normally don't go to bed till, like, 11 o'clock. But, like, 9, 10 o'clock is early for me. Mm-hmm. Like, and I just feel like I need it. And I don't know, like, are we having daylight savings time this year? There is at the end. I don't know.
You're asking the wrong person.
I was like, maybe it's because, like, the time is about to change. I don't know. But it's just been an exhausting week. I mean. It
has been.
For those of you who follow us on TikTok, you might have seen my interesting pregnancy test story, let me rephrase. But I had been feeling a certain type of way, and the story behind it is I took a test, and I don't know what happened with that test. Like,
it was a WTF test.
It was a WTF. It was a magic 8-ball test is what I've been calling it, because I've never had this happen. And I'm kind of
I didn't even know it could happen.
Here's my thing. If you are a manufacturer pregnancy test, if for whatever reason the test malfunctions, it should say error.
I agree.
Because the result that I got was a question mark. And let me tell you, for me, it was kind of funny because I was like, I spent a lot of money on this because, of course, it was like one of the digital ones. And I don't know if maybe, I guess you're supposed to open it and, like, expose it to sunlight for, like, or not sunlight, but, like, to the light for, like, a minute or two. Yeah, like, because I went back and read it.
I read directions.
Well, and that's why I went back and read it. Basically, you're supposed to open it, you're supposed to expose it, and then it, like, turns on. That's how it turns on, is the exposure to the light, because it's in the packaging. And then you're supposed to either, you can, I don't know how y'all take, pee or dip. I pee. I don't know about the rest of you. I just take the stick, put it down, get some on it, put the cap back on, let it sit, right? So I do that. And I thought it was working, and I come back, and it literally had a question mark. And I'm like, are you asking me if I'm pregnant? Because same. Like,
I loved when you called me, and you were like, okay, I'm going to send you a picture, but I want to be on the phone. And I got it, and I was like, what?
Let me tell you, when I say I was mad, I was like, I literally felt like it was a magic 8-ball. Like, I shook it, and it was like, try again later. And I was like, no, I spent $20 on this test, like, because they're not cheap.
I'm questioning you. Don't question me.
Right. I was like, I don't know if I'm pregnant. That's why I was asking you. I'm having symptoms that I might be. That's why I was
$22 for this.
Right. I could have gotten a magic 8-ball to give me a question mark for $8. Like,
some rock, paper, scissors or something.
I had to laugh about that, though.
That is the wildest thing, though. Like,
I had somebody online, though, they're like, the same thing happened to me, and I'm like, how, like, disappointing is that? Like, if you're like, I might be pregnant, and, like, you only get one,
yes.
And you're like, what do you mean, question mark? Like, am I or am I not? It's like, to be determined. Like,
that's so messed up. It definitely should say error. The question mark to me is like, nah, your guess is as good as ours.
So I was like, I guess it was just left up for debate, but I don't know. I thought that was very comical. I was like,
I feel like you should get like a rebate or like a coupon or something like. Here we go.
Anything else exciting happen with you? I mean...
Yeah, so I have chosen to take an opportunity for my career.
Yay!
So I will be going back into like a brick and mortar work, and which, for the last almost 3 years, I've been completely remote. So this is going to be fun, but I'm very excited about it. It's a great opportunity. I think I'm going to really love my team that I get to work with.
That's good.
We have just, there was a really good kind of chemistry, a good vibe there.
Culture.
Yeah. And, I'm excited, but for the kids, they're excited, but they're not going to have mom around anymore. So, you know how when you always hear the back in my day, I had to walk uphill a mile through the snow. That's literally about to be my kids because they're gonna have to walk up the driveway when they get off the bus.
Oh, darn. But your driveway, for real, is really long and uphill.
Yes, yeah. It is all uphill, through the woods, very windy.
You just need to get, like, a little garage area that you can put at the base of your
the
driveway.
Funny thing is there's a little kind of, like, culvert type turnoff that is right up the driveway a little. And so we've been looking at putting something there because we have, like, four-wheelers, we have go-karts, but we're also looking at maybe, like, a golf cart or something like that has a windshield, and because we don't want to get a side-by-side yet and just have the kids driving it, and we don't really want them on the four-wheelers either, so I'm trying to find something like a happy medium.
Yeah, but that's scary.
Something that can keep them from the rain too. So
do you see this?
Oh, the puppies.
I don't know if you guys you can kind of see it. So Bella is the orange right here to, I don't know what this is. This is my right,
You're
actually,
right, yeah.
but I think it's, like, to my left on the camera. I don't know. Anyways, but Zeus is laying on top of her. This is what he does.
He loves his sister.
He's like, she's warm.
Mm-hmm.
And chunky.
I know. Well, that's going to be another piece of me going back to work is, like, the dogs. Like,
oh, yeah.
They're going to have to be crated now through the day. And
they've been crated, though, before.
I've been trying. Yes, we do crate them, but I've been trying to get them ready for being in their crate longer because normally it's like I am home so they can be out and they can be happy and running free and crazy. So I'm like, oh my goodness, there's going to be lots of changes. I'm going to have a commute again, but it's all country roads, so I'm okay with it. But yeah.
There's some pros and cons to that.
Yeah. The wintertime will be the cons.
That's what I was going to say. Cons during wintertime, country roads don't get treated nearly as much as, like, main roads.
And actually, that's one thing I even told Ian the other day because when we were driving to go to iFly to do the indoor skydiving, I took them past where I'll be working. And I told Ian, I said, listen, on days that it's really icy or something, I will probably take a little bit longer of a route because I can go, like, another route that's more traveled roads, well-known roads, and so I think those will be serviced a little better than these 2-lane country roads that I have to take. But I'm okay with it. And we've got SUVs. I'm used to driving it, so I'm kind of excited to go back and have to get dressed and
I think that, like, when you have been, off for a while and going back into the workforce, it's probably, like, man, it's like almost like that first day of school.
It really is. I'm actually very excited about it. And
that's good.
It's allowing me going back because I loved being remote. I loved being home for my kids. But now they're a little bit older. And I went in, so I'm in human resources, but I don't think the viewers know. But I got into HR so that I can, like, help people and be around people. And I like, creating those relationships with folks. And being remote and doing HR, it's more of compliance and legal, and it's all the behind the scenes stuff.
Right.
So now I get to be back in the world, I feel like. And I'm like, I'm going to have people.
See, it's kind of weird because, like, when I switched, and this was a couple years ago, I had worked remotely for several years before the pandemic even occurred. So, I mean, when I transitioned to this new role, or new company, I should say, when I made the change, they were working in more of a hybrid capacity, which I kind of liked. But now that I've had her, I'm like, it is so hard to get myself out the door, and I always feel bad if I'm, like, showing up right before our morning meeting. So I've been trying to adapt to that, getting up, getting ready, and Casey and I have both had to sit down and be like, okay, how can we make this as easy as possible, because he works from home. So, but he has to be online an hour before I have to. So he's been getting up, he's been feeding the baby and getting her dressed and making sure that she's ready to go so I can get myself dressed, since he can just kind of go downstairs.
Right.
And if he needs to be, like, in a, nice button down or something for a meeting, he can just throw that on.
Yeah.
So it's just interesting because, like, he has been helping in that regard, but then at the same time you have, like, it's like a new dynamic. It's been so long since I've had a newborn, and then the adaptation of like getting her to school and like the worries behind that. Yeah. I'm not gonna lie, like I had severe anxiety putting her into daycare, and I don't know if it's just because that's normal, like as a mom. Yeah. Part of me feels guilty that I'm not home with her. But then at the same time, I'm like, I can't because, like, we have bills, you know what I mean? Right. And unfortunately, we live in a society where, I mean, 2-income households are better than one.
That was it wasn't the only decision of going back to work. That's a 90% of my decision of wanting to go back to work is I need a bigger income because it's like, my gosh.
Well, inflation has been killing people across the board. I mean,
groceries alone, I can't afford to keep feeding these growing boys who eat like full-grown adults. And I'm just like, it's a lot. I've been comparing, I saw a couple of people who were comparing their like online orders from 2020 to like today and how much more of an increase
it's doubled.
It is. At least. And I'm just like, that is insane. So I did mine. You actually got to see like the 2020, like what you ordered and how much it cost. And it was sickening, to be honest, of how much I'm paying for the exact same thing. And actually I'm buying cheaper now and I'm buying less now because now we use a lot of like deer meat and our own eggs. And so I'm just like, how are people surviving this?
I think that
not.
Well, and I will tell you, like, I sneeze in the grocery store and I spend $250
as soon as you walk in the door.
There's 4 of us now, mind you. We don't get any kind of like help with like we don't get WIC or anything like that for the baby. So every can of formula, all the baby food is out of my pocket. Mm-hmm. In addition to that, like, Natalie, I mean, she likes to pack her lunch. And I hate to say it, but I mean, like, it's almost $4 for a school lunch through her school.
Right.
It was like maybe $1.50 when we were in school. You know what I mean? So it's like crazy to me how much that is. And she doesn't even like the school lunches that they provide. So, I mean, I don't mind buying her like some lunch meat or whatever. But I mean, lunch meat is...
It gets
so expensive. Yeah. Like, I was looking at it the other day and I'm like, for a little tiny...
that'll go bad in a few days.
Well, and like Casey, he likes to eat lunch meat sandwiches for lunch, but I'm dead serious. It's like $6 for one little thing. And I'm just like, that is insane to me because it's like, it'll last maybe a week here.
Yeah.
And it's, we have been making a valiant effort to eat in more frequently because one of the biggest pain points, like we sat down and did our budget because every few months we like to sit down and kind of readdress that. Where are we at, in our savings? It's so hard having growing kids too. Like Natalie needs a new pair of running shoes. She started cross country. And yesterday was her first meet and she was like, I don't want you to come. And I was like kind of like heartbroken about that because I guess like the bus will like bus them there and like the parents can come and watch them. But she was like, I don't want you to come. And I was like, are you sure? Because I really wanted to go. And I should have, looking back, but, she ended up saying that she, ran, I think they run, 2 miles and some change. But she did it in 20 minutes. Wow. But she was like, they forgot to place her, which I was like, that's kind of sad for her first meet. But she did pretty well. And next week, she's going to miss because we have her birthday party. And she didn't get home till 3 o'clock yesterday. Wow. She got there at 9.
Wow.
So I was like,
Those are all day things,
It's not supposed to be, but I guess they stayed and watched some of the other teams run, including the high schoolers. Yeah. So I was like, that's good that they're staying behind watching other people cheering them on. But I was also like, this can't be an every week thing where we're staying, we'll leave. And she's like, well, other people's parents came and picked them up. And I'm like, you told me not to come and you could have called me. And she's like, no, it's fine. I had fun. I was like, okay.
Oh, good. Yeah, that's also another piece that I had to figure out with me going back into brick and mortar is sports because
with Lawson and baseball and everything.
I'm gonna be home later, and sometimes practices start pretty early. Luckily, right now he has a practice that doesn't start till 6, but and that's soccer. but it's going to be both of them soon. And with me starting out, my at least first 90 days, like, I don't know that I'm going to get out of there. And then I have an hour drive home. So my awesome father-in-law is going to come on those days. And he's going to handle that. Ian's, when he works doubles, he's going to switch up. So, like, I feel bad because me doing something that I want to do, like going back to work, is like creating, like I have to lean on others. So Ian's whole schedule is kind of changing because right now he's been working any doubles onto first shift, and he's going to switch it up to do third shift now. So that way he can be there in the mornings to get them off to school. And I'm like, I'm sorry.
I don't think that you should feel guilty about that you're doing something. And it's not because you feel like you're missing out. I think that you feel like that pressure to make money right now. Yeah, I mean, everything's so expensive, and
I can't be chasing consulting jobs. I need something that's gonna provide me everything I need, and just put us back on a good track to where we can start adding to savings again and get some things paid off. And I'm just like, ugh.
We just need to win the lottery, Lindsay. Why haven't we done this yet?
We're trying.
The lottery commission. Here's your winners. Just give us the win.
It's us.
It's me. Hi.
Yes, please.
Oh my goodness. But
I'd love that. I'd still probably go to work. It just wouldn't be. It'd probably be having like something to do with animals.
See, I think that if I won the lottery, I would probably like do like a travel blog, just videos of like different places.
I'll go with you.
That's fine.
I'll help you do the research.
I don't need research. I just need to go. Like, but it's funny too because like
coming soon, next podcast.
Right. If we win the lottery, y'all, our scenery will definitely be changing. There'll be a beach in the background. It's fine. Yes.
We were talking about wanting like our next trip that we want to do because we've already decided we're not going to do a summer vacation this year coming up. We're just going to be home, enjoy our pool, like might take time off, but just enjoy the time with each other at home and use the money that would go to vacations like paying like anything off that needs paid off. Well, we did kind of decide that our next vacation, though, that we want to do Ireland and Scotland.
Ooh, that would be a lot of fun.
Yes. And so I've been kind of creating the trip already just so I can, like, get an idea of how much is, like, it's going to take and finding all the tips and tricks of, like, where to fly into, how long to stay in certain places. Because our idea, like, we want to go for at least 2 weeks because we want to do a weekend each. So that way we can have time to explore because we have ancestors that are all, like, mine and Ian's ancestors are from there. And so we've tracked it down to, like, the small town in Ireland where my family's from, like, his small towns in Scotland. And
that's pretty cool. And I think Scotland is where Lord of the Rings was filmed, I think.
Yes.
Or maybe it's New Zealand.
Oh,
I don't know.
Well, either way,
it's beautiful scenery.
Yes.
I've had friends who've been to Ireland. That's on my bucket list.
Yes.
I have a few bucket list like items. Like one of my biggest ones is Italy. We were actually supposed to go for our honeymoon in 2020, but with COVID, Ireland, Italy was one of the first places to shut down because they were impacted so heavily. So we've backburnered that, and then we actually had booked our honeymoon to Hawaii that year. And because of everything, they limited travel. Yeah. So fortunately, my husband is a huge advocate for travel insurance. I am not, because I was like, there's no reason for us to get it. But he was like, it's an expensive trip. It's our honeymoon. We're going to get it. Because he got that was the only reason we were able to get like our money back as opposed to like a voucher. Mm-hmm. See, and a lot of people were getting vouchers.
We got vouchers. We still haven't used them. I think they're about to expire or they already have expired.
You can call them and get it pushed back. I heard. I don't know who you have it through, if it's airlines or if it's a...
It was through the airlines.
It depends on who it is, because I have a few friends who had a call, and like as long as you call them, they'll keep like extending it.
So... I did that. I did the little loophole of like scheduling and then rescheduling so that it wasn't a cancellation, so I could push it back. But I don't know how many times you can do that. So
I'll call the airline. Yeah, I was about to say, because some of them have been really like working with people. I know Casey, because he had his bachelor party scheduled, and I still to this day feel so bad. Like he should get a redo. His brother booked everything. He actually like they lost out on like the entire trip pretty much because of everything, and I just felt so awful for him. But then, in addition to that, like we go on a vacation here in a month. We're supposed to go to Fort Walton Beach, Florida. I want to go to Destin, but Destin's expansive.
Yeah.
If you're looking for a nice place to go, Fort Walton is a little bit cheaper. It's about 15 minutes from Destin, and they have like all the amenities. Yeah, I was like looking because I like to. My husband is from Florida. He loves Florida. However, he likes the east coast of Florida because he likes the waves. He does not like the Gulf Coast.
Gotcha.
And I'm like, I don't really care. Beach is beach. I'm happy. But because of that, it has limited us, and I feel like we went down the East Coast. Like I can't do no more. So I was like looking at good family vacation places, especially ones that had like a kiddie pool or something for her to enjoy, because obviously she's not going to like probably love ocean water and with the ocean it's unpredictable, so waves and stuff, and I wanted something that was Casey is, when he's on vacation, he likes to be catered to. So my husband's bougie, guys. But he likes a balcony. Just
no judgment.
No judgment. He likes to have a balcony. He prefers to have an ocean view. Not like a city view.
Yeah.
And then lastly, he likes to have like a beach runner. Like if he's on the beach, he wants to at least have a bar that he can walk up to while on the beach instead of having to walk all the way back to the resort. Or he likes to have like a server who comes around and gets your drinks for you. The latter is his preference, but not every resort has that.
Yeah.
So this one does have like a tiki bar like on the beach.
Nice.
That I was like, that'd be really cool. For like the entire family, and it has a really cool pool, like that it has like this grotto and a swim up bar.
Ooh.
So I thought that would be really cool too on the days that we may not just beach it. So we'll see how it is, but we've even been up in the air on whether or not we're going to go. And then like my family wants to plan like a family vacation for next year, and we've been kind of back and forth because like it was going to be a cruise, but the amount, like with cruises, you'd think that because they were so heavily impacted by the pandemic, they'd be a little bit cheaper. No, they are so expensive. We were looking into going early next year, and I was looking at the cost between me and Casey and the baby and Nat, because of course with cruises, they go to different destinations, and the one we were looking at would have been it would have been Jamaica and the Bahamas. But the amount of money that we would have spent just to be in those two locations for one day each, and the rest of it be like on the boat, I was like, we could literally stay at an all-inclusive resort in Jamaica for a full week and spend less money.
Wow.
And I'm just kind of like, and that includes our passports, because of course you still have to get your passports if you want to get off the cruise.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, would you guys be opposed to that? Because we could literally as a family be saving thousands of dollars, because I did price it out, and I was just like, all inclusive
is like, we loved when we went to the Dominican. I've gone to a couple of all inclusive, but I will say our Dominican trip was the best trip. Like, I would go back there in a heartbeat.
Really,
it's beautiful. You can't go wrong with whatever resort you stay at. Like, it's just, it's really a great time. But I love the all-inclusive.
See, and, like, that's the thing is, like, there's no all-inclusive places in the U.S. If you hear that's all-inclusive, false. There might be, like, one or two places.
Right.
Because I had looked at all-inclusive places in the U.S., and there's just not a lot. But we were talking about maybe going to Mexico. I've never been, so I was like, that'd be a lot of fun, and it's actually fairly cheap.
Yeah, I was gonna say Mexico's pretty reasonable. I've been a couple of times, and it's beautiful there too.
Well, and then I was looking at Jamaica, and I realized, because like the one thing when we were looking at the cruise, it was already expensive for the cruise itself, but the port we would be going out of is Miami. So Miami is already, like, first and foremost, there is no direct flight from Ohio to Miami. There's not. So there's always a layover. And when I was looking, most of the layovers are like 6-7 hours. Like, not like the layover itself, but the flight. Like, and I'm like, I don't want to be traveling with an infant that long. No. Like, that's a long time to travel. So I was like, could we dock out of like Jacksonville? Or I forget the other one. Like, they have another one that's in Florida. I want to say it's Fort something.
Fort Lauderdale?
Maybe Fort Lauderdale. But I was like, I really just don't want to have that kind of layover. And I've already flown into Miami and back.
Yeah.
And usually, like, you either have, like, typically it's Chicago, like, where you have a layover. And let me tell you, when we went...
That's the worst.
We were lucky to make it home the last time. Because literally, we had a 10-minute delay. And you wouldn't think that would be, like, a huge deal. But when you have a layover that's only 40 minutes, and then with wind...
Yeah.
Like, because the wind was against us, it pushed us back to the point we were running. We weren't even sure our luggage made it on the plane. We were lucky that we did. Mm-hmm. So, to this day, I'm kind of like, won't do that again. Plus...
That's a lot of stress.
Me and Casey were talking, and we're like, if we're going to go on a cruise, we'd want to fly in the day before so we don't have to worry about anything. And if you miss your cruise, there's no, like, getting your money back. It's like, that's on you.
Yeah.
So I'm like, that's the other added cost.
Cruises are tough, too, and I will say this. I always felt like if you're looking for a relaxing type of vacation, cruises are tough because when you get off at the port, you only have so long.
Mm-hmm. And if you miss it, you're
100%.
You're screwed.
Yeah. I mean, there were several times where our cruise ship picked up people that were left at the ports from other cruise ships just so they could catch a ride with us. And I'm like, they got lucky that they were able to do that. Like, otherwise it's on you to get your travel back. Yeah. So we actually picked up, that was a couple of different times that's happened. But I remember there were times where, you know, we would take a tour, and then because we were on a tour, we're on like a bus, and then you get stuck in some sort of traffic or something happens, and we were literally running to the cruise ship before,
and that's what I'm afraid of.
And I'm like, that's just not a relaxing time. I don't want to be watching my watch the whole time and trying to make sure we're on a limited time here. Like,
and that's why, like I don't get me wrong, I'm a huge Disney fan. I went to Disney once. I took Nat for her 7th, 8th birthday, something like that.
Yeah,
and it was fun, but let me tell you, like, the amount of planning that goes into that is, you can pay somebody to do all the planning, and I definitely recommend doing that. Somebody who's more knowledgeable, especially if it's your first time. There's just so much information out there.
I got really lucky because you had just gone and told me everything not to do and everything to do. So I feel like my trip was the complete opposite.
I felt bad because, like, okay, so
I learned from you.
Our friend Jen has went multiple times, and she gave me a lot of pointers, as well as a lot of other people that I know. And it was helpful, but, like, I'm one of those people, if I'm unfamiliar with the territory, my anxiety gets really bad because I'm like, what if we get lost? What if this happens? What if that happens? I was a mess. I had vacation constipation because like I was so stressed out.
Yeah.
We got the dining package. I think they're finally bringing that back because they like did away with it there for a while.
I heard that.
And if they bring back the dining package or when, I definitely recommend doing it. I don't know how much it has changed, but when we did it, we stayed for a week. It was absolutely worth every dime.
Yes.
Like, same. Because the amount of money that you'll spend on food is ridiculous. I mean, from breakfast in the morning, it was like $50 for breakfast for the three of us. And then for dinner, it was like $300.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not exaggerating in that regard. Now, we did the restaurants. So
Right.
we ate at the resort in the morning for breakfast. They usually had like a buffet style. You went in, you grabbed what you wanted.
That's nice.
You'd like go to the park. One little tidbit is that the cups that they give you at the resort do not get refilled in the park. Did not know that. Secondly, when we were planning it, you have to get online to do your fast passes and your dining the day that you are able to, because otherwise it will be booked out for that week, because other people are going to be on at 6 a.m. online or calling the number to get their restaurants booked. So we were fortunate. I got like Be Our Guest was one that we had ate at. We did
that as well.
Be Our Guest was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed that.
We did breakfast there, and I will say that if you can schedule breakfast there, because the best part was we did an early breakfast before the park opened.
Yes. I was going to say, if you do a breakfast, if you don't decide to eat at the resort, do it in the park. Do it before they open, because what happens is when you eat in the park, as soon as you're done, you can still walk around the park. So you can get some of the things. And with the fast passes, with the fast passes, that was the other thing. Like, there's so many rides. I will say, if you're going, watch the maps, see which rides are typically, because some of them are always 10, 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Some of them are like 3 hours. The ones that you see that are 3 hours, if it's one that you want to ride, spend your fast passes on them. I don't know how the fast passes work there now, because I heard that you have to buy them individually. I don't know if that's true. And I'm
I don't know.
That's crazy, because I think we got like 3 per day.
Yeah.
And we ended up getting one of them back because we were supposed to do like story time with Belle or something like that, and it got rained out.
See, we got super lucky because Ian, being in corrections, he has like an aversion to crowds. And so I had researched for literally a year before planning a trip the least crowded times to go. And so I think it was like the third week of February or something that we went, and we didn't even need to use our fast passes except for on the Avatar ride. That was the only time that we actually like would have needed our fast pass. We still used them, but we didn't need to.
But the thing with the fast passes, so we went in September, and I didn't realize they start their like Not So Scary Halloween in like early September. So when we went, like, I was like, that's kind of cool, but I didn't want to spend the extra money to do like the Halloween thing. I'm sure it's a blast, but I had already invested so much time and energy and money into planning all that, and I'm like, I don't want to have to worry about.
If I'm doing Halloween, it's going to be in New Orleans. That's where I'm going.
That'd probably be fun, but
I want to go to Voodoo Fest.
Interesting.
Sorry, ADD.
Yeah, you're fine. No, but, I just didn't want to mess with all of that, like, as far as, like, getting the Halloween costume and bringing it with us and having her do that, like, a month before Halloween at that.
Yeah.
And I will say, like, with the fast passes, like, we had scheduled it out, and, I mean, one pointer I will say, if they have the fast passes, that is, I don't even know if it's applicable right now, but we planned it according to where the park was. So I try to plan it out like this one at this time. And then this one a couple hours later. So it gave us time to kind of work our way through the park.
Yeah, that was the advice you had given me. And that was like, oh, yes.
And that's the thing. Because, like, I didn't realize, I mean, like, and I thought I gave us ample time. Of course, we're first timers. We don't know how long it's going to take on foot. So we're walking, and I mean, there were times that we would still be booking it to our freaking fast pass, like our next one. Man. And it was almost like not enjoyable because you kind of felt like that. Like you said, with the cruise, like you're
constantly
just going.
Beating a clock.
Right. And that's not relaxing to me. No. I'm not one of those people, like, look, I don't mind sightseeing and stuff like that. If you have that, great, like, I'll tag along, but I don't want my entire vacation going all the time. I'm like, I go all the time. I just want a little bit of, you know what I mean? Like,
to relax.
Rest and relaxation. That's what vacation is supposed to be about.
Yes.
And then there's times even like when I get home from vacation, I'm like, I need another week of staycation so I can like.
Yeah.
recoup and get ready
Need
for
a
the
vacation
week.
from the vacation.
Yes. And I'm like, they should make this a thing. Like,
yeah. Oh, I 100% agree. Look, we talked about you doing a travel blog, and it's like, this has become the travel blog.
Welcome, guys. This is Mommy Mia Media.
I love it, though.
But
I need a
aside from that, I do, too.
You don't know this, but if you go in October, I'm totally jumping in your suitcase.
You can just sit in the car in the back seat. You're fine.
Like, hi, I'm her nanny.
You're more than welcome. We'll leave the baby and Nat with you and say deuces.
Yep.
Go get some drinks.
I'd be perfectly okay with that. You count me in.
Can you tell your employer that you can't start until after this set date, or that you already have a vacation planned?
I'm sorry. That's the other piece of like going back to work is like I don't have this like freedom, you know what I mean? Like I'm so used to that, so it's gonna be interesting, but I am excited for it. I'm
glad that you're excited, because for me, I'm like, I love my job, but as a mom, I'm tired, and I'm like, is it bad that sometimes I just don't want to work?
No, I'm exhausted. If I didn't have to, I would do something very little.
I just feel like there's always something. And like I feel like our house, it doesn't look bad. It's lived in right now, but my upstairs, like I did finally get my bedroom clean like a couple weeks ago, only to discover that our dryer crapped out.
Yeah, that's
so and it's funny because like I called the manufacturer because it's still under warranty, and I was like, hey, like this happened, can you send a technician? They're like, yeah, we'll send one on. It was supposed to be this past Tuesday. And I'm like, okay. Well, then the next day I get a phone call from them, and they're like, yeah, we don't know what they told you. Like, they don't know what they're talking about. It's going to be the following Tuesday. So I was like, okay. And they're like, we'll have, like, a technician call you the morning of to let you know what time. Because, you know, they give you a broad range. It's like 8 to 5. And you're like, great. So I'll be home all day. So I'm sitting there, and Tuesday, I get a call, and they're like, yeah, we have a technician on their way. They'll be there between 8 to 5. Like, it was an automated message. Didn't think too much of it. I was like, I thought they said the technician would call to give, like, a specific, like, 2 or 4 hour time frame.
Got it.
So I was like, whatever. Never showed up. So I'm like, I hope that they come this Tuesday, because if not, then I'm going to have them come out, like, the next day, because I'll be like, look, I waited.
That's really
I was
rough.
told 2 different dates. Nobody showed up twice. Like, I will be super upset. Like,
and it's really hard to live without, you know.
It is. Like, I felt bad because luckily Casey was on vacation this week. So he actually took a couple loads over to his parents to wash and dry over there. But if it wasn't for that, we would have had none. And, like, his mom is like, just drop off your clothes. I'm like, my clothes are, no, I don't need you washing my dirty underwear. Like, super nice. I love you. But you do enough for us. I don't need you to do that. Like, I will bring my laundry over and do it myself, so you don't have to.
I know my mother-in-law has done that for us a couple of times. My mom always asks, too, if she can help out. And I'm like, it's okay. Like,
you're like,
awkward.
And I hate it. Like, that's the thing. Like, my sheets, like, they look dirty. And I swear it's not because me and Casey. It's because this one, like, will be, like, laying in our bed in the morning and spit up. And, like, there's, like, these, like,
you're
weird.
like, I swear that stain is spit up.
I swear. But don't take a black light to it. No,
your mother-in-law's like, oh, man.
She's like,
gloves on.
But still, I'm just like, oh, my goodness.
Oh, I get it. Well, hopefully it gets fixed for you.
I'm hoping this week. If not, then I'll be on the phone asking them nicely to come on Wednesday.
So nice.
So nice. I'll be like, look, I gave you guys 2 weeks. I need my dryer fixed because I'm running out of underwear and I don't want to have to take them to my mother-in-law, okay?
Just put a clothesline out there.
I thought about doing that. I was like, you know what? It's been warm enough. Maybe I could put a clothesline in the backyard and at least do, like, some clothing.
Talk about awkward, though, is when you have to chase your underwear down the street.
Right. Or you, like, look out back and your dog is wearing your underwear because they're, like, outside, like...
chewing them up in the corner.
Oh, my God. I would die. I was like... I don't know how people, like, it's one thing if you live in the country and put your undies on, like, the clothesline, but, like, a neighborhood. I don't need all the little boys like taking pictures. Like, look what I see. I see London. I see France.
Oh my goodness.
Oh man, but I swear I feel like we haven't seen each other in like weeks, but like nothing's really happened. Like I mean, a lot has happened, but nothing's happened.
I think just being like sick, because like I don't do anything when we're sick, you know. It's I'm literally like, you stay in bed, here's Pedialyte, here's chicken soup, like we're
everybody just stay in their room.
Yeah. And that's literally how it was, because I was like, oh my gosh, like Ian can't get sick. He's working a bunch of overtime. I can't get sick. I'm about to start a new role.
I think everybody just feels like they just can't. Like Natalie, when she started school, you know, and she had like gotten sick for those like 2 days, like the first full week of school.
Yeah.
I felt so bad because like we had to keep telling her like you have to like isolate yourself from the rest of us, and it's not because we don't love you.
Right.
Like it's literally because if you get the baby sick, it can be detrimental to her because she is still young and doesn't know how to
express what's going on.
Right.
And
but then, like, Casey, it's like he can't get sick. He works and, you know, we need him to keep up with the house. And then it's like, if I get sick, like, the whole world ends
I know,
because I'm an awful sick person.
When mom is sick, it's the worst. And that was the hardest part for me. It was like, okay, I did so good. I was like,
Sorry about that. Short intermission for a bathroom break. You know how sometimes it just hits you and you're like, deuces, like, I gotta go.
And Miss Amelia woke up, so.
That too. Now she's just like kind of chilling.
Yes.
Look at those feet.
I know. She's wide awake now. No, I was just saying, though, how when mom gets sick, it's like, who's gonna take care of everybody? And that's the hardest part for me, is like my boys want me when they're sick, so they're like, Mom, and I'm like, ugh, I can't isolate from them very well. But
It's hard for you to stay away when people are sick because you are the caretaker. But like in the same regard, like me and Casey actually had a conversation about this even here recently, is like, can we like normalize that moms need breaks too?
Yes.
Like I'm tired of this narrative that it's like you have to ask or feel guilty because you need an hour or a day to yourself. And I'm like, look, we are partners in parenting and partners in life, but there's going to be times that you want to go out with your boys and watch football and have a drink or two and not be dad. And that's fine. I get it. Parenting is hard.
Yeah.
But my thing is it's like, as a mom, like, and you know, I asked if like, hey, and we talked about this I think on the last podcast, where I asked him to like take the baby so I could clean, like get out of the house so I can get what I need to done. And he's like, you can't have your cake and eat it too. And at first I was like, you know what, maybe I am overreacting, but then like I thought about